Hi everyone, I'm Jordan Liker, and this is my Module 15 case study. So what has happened or is happening in this case study? There's been some concern established by the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Newman, about the school's instructional programs, but in particular, the declining student attendance of this particular high school, Golden Oaks High School. In fact, this school has the lowest percentage of student attendance of any high school in the district. The school board policy allows for teachers to penalize students' grades for absences in excess of 5. Um, it's evident that there are positive relationships between the school and social service agencies. And after the first semester of the year, a new principal at the school is evaluating the attendance data to determine the reason for the high rate of absenteeism. These events occurred at Golden Oaks High School. It's a school. It's in a suburban setting. It's a fairly large high school of 965 students in grades 9 through 12. It's becoming an increasingly more diverse school in recent years. Most of the students come from middle-income families, and most of the parents work outside of the immediate community. In fact, they have a 1 to 2 hour commute time to and from work every day. The experienced staff at this district has low teacher turnover, with no more than 2 to 3 teachers usually needing to be replaced per year. Football is the dominant sport in the school, but the school offers 11 team sports as well as 31 other clubs for students to participate in. Who might be concerned about the events that are occurring? The superintendent has already expressed concern, as well as the school board, as they have enacted attendance policies. The school administration, the teachers and the staff should all be concerned about the attendance of students, as if they're not in school, they're going to struggle, or will have a more likelihood of struggling. The students of Golden Oaks High School may be concerned about the attendance themselves. Community stakeholders, as they are going to be the future employers of many of these students. And then outside agencies, social service agencies, juvenile court system, as they are going to play a role in attendance issues as well. What do the parties have to say about the situation? The school board has adapted policies that support the state law and encourage attendance. The superintendent is attempting to enforce these policies. The principal is trying to determine the reasoning behind absences, and has found that policies of attendance and absences have been applied with personal discretion by teachers in the past. And the parents have provided a variety of reasons for their children's absences. Trips promoting educational opportunities, church meetings, there's been a lack of parental support towards school attendance in some situations, and then for some medical reasons as well. Some teachers are actually encouraging student absences, and some school policies are not being followed by all teachers. So some legal or ethical issues that are present here. Um, Some students have been allowed to miss school, resulting in them losing some valuable learning time. Uh, in the review of some students by the principal, it was found that one student, Carl, his parents let him stay home from school when he didn't feel well. There is a truant officer that is involved in this case. They're not real supportive of school attendance. The athletic director of the school has allowed John, a football player, to miss Friday afternoons to go home and rest before the football games those nights. And it's kind of created a double standard for some students. John is missing classes about 3 days a week between some medical rehab that he's going through, as well as the Friday afternoons. Christina has missed some major exams due to absences for church meetings. They've actually been signed by the minister and not her parents and guardians, but they have been approved anyway. Karen, her work has diminished, and she actually failed to complete a midterm exam before the semester break. The parents have requested a meeting. It's unclear if that meeting has occurred, but the guardianship is a little bit in question, since Karen actually got married over the summer. And so in some states, she is emancipated. So without knowing what state this is in, it's a little harder to determine the guardianship of Karen. And Tyrone, who has missed 14 days due to family trips, but they have been somewhat educational, and they actually provided some experiences that would otherwise be difficult to achieve in the school. And he has still shown average progress, even with those absences. So it's unclear at this point as well if students' grades have been penalized due to absences under the district policy, that they could be. It's necessary to determine how the policies have been applied and their effectiveness. And then the prior principal approval does not seem to be happening for student absences, which is actually against school policy. Teachers are taking this into their own hands and actually using their own judgment on these. And we're only looking at a small portion of the students with absences. Um, there were over 600 students that had absences in excess of 10 at this point in the semester, but we're only looking at 5, and so a bigger sample would be maybe more beneficial. And there's a chance that the athletic association rules are not being followed. According to the Kansas State High School Athletic Association, students need to be in school the full day in order to participate in those events. And so if this was in Kansas, those some of those rules are not being followed at this time. Does the situation contravene an existing law? It's really unclear who is in charge of determining if absences are excused or unexcused. It's supposed to be the principal, but that doesn't seem to be happening all the time here. It's unclear what state this is occurring in, and that is going to be necessary for determining if applicable state laws are being enforced. For example, in Arizona, Arizona prohibits penalties to students' grades if absenteeism is due solely to illness, disease, or an accident documented by certified persons. In Kansas, Kansas requires school boards to adopt rules for determining for the determination of valid excuse for absence and what should constitute a significant part of the day. It also requires one or more employees who are responsible for determining the acceptability and validity of reasoning for absences. And the principal only looked at students with 10 or more absences, but the Kansas policy actually has that schools need to take action if there are 3 consecutive absences, 5 absences per semester, or 7 per year. And so there may be many more students that we need to be looking at here in this school. Was there a breach of contract? Were the actions discriminatory or do they constitute harassment? The teachers may not be fulfilling their obligations requiring and encourage school attendance. And the policies may favor some students over others. It may favor some athletics over non-athletic students, and it may even favor certain athletic sports over others. So, what is happening in this school is school attendance at Golden Oaks High School has become a concerning issue in recent years due to the inconsistent application of district and state policies, as well as the possibility of unknown factors due to the changing demographics of the community and the student body. So who are the people involved in this case? What we know is that we looked at 5 students who have 10 or more absences in the first semester at the Golden Oaks High School, but we have well over that actually have 10 or more absences. Teachers have a history of using personal discretion when applying the school policies, and some are not reporting absences at all. The administration is aware of attendance issues and are evaluating some demographic data. For some stakeholders, education is not the priority. For the athletic director and letting students go home just to rest for athletics, as well as some parents allowing students to stay home just to work. Or saying that if they don't finish school, they can still work with them. Most parents do have long commutes to work, and so it is difficult for them to spend time at home with these children, at large portions of time at home. And the diversity of the community is increasing, which may create some cultural changes in the community as well. Now, what's unknown in this case is how many absences other students have. We just looked at those 5. There could be some students that have even more absences than the 14 that we looked at as the most. Will the changing demographics of this community result in changing norms of the community? Are certain demographics missing more school than others, or for certain students in certain demographics missing more school than others? How involved are parents at the school? Are they, even though they have long commutes, are they still involved with the school, or is parent involvement lacking? What are the stakeholders' perceptions of school attendance? Is this an important issue for stakeholders in the community, or is it not? What other factors are keeping students from attending school? Are students, since parents have long commutes from to work, are some students having to stay home to watch siblings at times? Or is the transportation of students to school, is that an issue? Um, and is the school board representative of the community population as a whole? We're getting a diverse community here. Is the school board as well? Um, or are we looking at this from one perspective from the school board and not really representative of the community as a whole? So the place involved in this case, we know it's Golden Oaks High School. It has 965 students, grades 9 through 12. It's a suburban school, but it's established suburban school. It's been around for 55 years. It's mostly middle income families, some in poverty, but some also in high income. It's been increasingly more diverse with a growing Hispanic and Asian families. It's a large district with multiple high schools. And services are in place to support the school and its processes. And in recent years, about 85% of the student population has missed 10 or more days throughout the school year. But formerly, this high school was recognized for the highest attendance rate in the district. Some of the unknown things for this place is what percentage of the student body has 5 or more absences. Is this evident through demographics? Are there certain demographics that this is very true for and others less so? How do the students get to school? Is transportation an issue for students to get to school? Is this school a private or public school? Um, what services are in place in the community to help support students and their families? Is there a public transportation in this community? Are there services that can help provide help to families if needed? Um, how does the attendance rate of students at the high school compare to that of the grade school? Is this a high school issue or is it a across the district issue? How does the student achievement compare to other similar schools over time? So we have some students missing school. Is that affecting student achievement? Is it remaining steady or is it decreasing? And when did the attendance shift occur? Did this coincide with other changes that have happened in the school or in the community? The programs. What are the programs in place? We know we have some teachers who are attempting to address attendance issues without input from the administration. The counselors played a negligible role in the attendance. The school board has aligned the attendance policy with state law, and teachers have the authority to penalize students based on their grades based on attendance. And the school offers some alternative education programs, some with like a technical college. Some students can learn at the technical college while in high school as well. Some of the unknowns with the programs in place. Have any programs to increase attendance been tried in the past? And if so, what were they? Are the policies of the district allowed by state law? In other words, can the school actually penalize students' grades for attendance? Who has the final determination on whether an absence is excused or unexcused? The principal is supposed to have this, but it doesn't seem like this is happening all the time. Are the teachers aware of the attendance policies? Are they actually aware of what they should or should not do? Is the school curriculum culturally relevant? Mentioned that the demographics of the community has been changing in recent years. Has this shown a change in the curriculum in the school as well? Or are they still trying to use the same cultural norms with a different culture actually in the educational process? What are some of the other alternative education programs that are in place in this community? And do the programs of the school actually fulfill the needs of the community? And so could this situation and the decisions being made be damaging to the stakeholders in community? In certain situations, this is true, that students are missing out on a significant amount of classroom instruction. Decisions are being made to correct attendance issues, but these decisions also have the potential to alienate the community if their opinions are not taken into account as well. Student well-being is not a top priority at all times. In certain situations, the long-term goals of students and the long-term success is not being looked at, but the short term is instead. And the school may not be fulfilling its educational obligations. And this can have a negative impact on the community in the future as well. If the school is not preparing students well for their futures, this will have an effect on the community, as they are the future employers and parents of students for this district. So what individual groups have a significant stake in the outcome? All groups really have a stake in this outcome, whether it's the teachers and administrators trying to achieve continuous improvement, parents by the school acting as responsible custodians to their children while they are in attendance, students by helping prepare them for the wide variety of futures that they may have, the community stakeholders by the system not preparing students to be successful in the workforce, and a productive member of society. And then the school system as a whole needs to help build its positive public perceptions for future success as well. So have the stakeholders been consulted? It's really unclear at this time whether they have been consulted or not. Perceptions data from stakeholders would be very beneficial and actually crucial to solving this problem. And so the use of something like the School Attendance Review Board would be beneficial. It should consist of parents of the children in the district, the State Department for Children and Families, the superintendent and the principal, students if possible, the teachers, school counselor, local law enforcement agencies, and then some community agencies providing services to students. So what else can we learn from this situation? The review of all applicable data is necessary. Data may need to be disaggregated or generated in the first place. The determination of how data sets interact is essential. Data from multiple stakeholders needs to be gathered and analyzed. We need to look at all forms of data and see how they interact to see what the issue is with attendance actually, and what can be done to solve these issues. And we need to review the State Athletic Association competition guidelines. These may be violated, which actually can be detrimental to the rest of the students that are on sports teams in the future if they are no longer allowed to participate in a certain sport. And a vision for the future and knowing what is currently possible is needed. We need to know what we're trying to do and what the opinions and what we could do immediately and be successful. So is there enough information to make a decision? There's enough information here to make some positive changes immediately, but data does need to be analyzed further, and we do need some input from stakeholders. Additional changes may need to happen in the future, and additional data may need to be generated. So in identifying the options and possible consequences, not making any decision or taking no action would be one option. This would center around hoping that the situation would correct itself. Most likely, nothing would change, or that the situation would actually deteriorate further. The most comprehensive and liberal strategy would be that the administration kind of acts unilaterally by removing or issuing some disciplinary action against teachers and staff members who are not exactly following the prescribed course of action as in the district. This would probably involve contacting the superintendent of schools beforehand, and depending on the negotiated agreement and tenure or other similar factors, they need to be consulted before removing teachers from the classroom. And then creating and implementing policies that require students to be in school or face disciplinary action. This could involve some in-house discipline or through a truancy officer. And this plan would act kind of reactively to infractions by both teachers and staff. So as something happens, it would react to it instead of being proactive. So some intermediate strategies that could occur. One would be creating an attendance secretary position at the school that would handle the attendance. Creating a school attendance review board that would look at data, review district policies, recommend changes. Compiling data to better address the situation. Know what we have with data, know better picture of the school as a whole. Professional development and training for the staff could be beneficial. Create a school position that visits homes and actually brings students to school. Personally meet with staff members and communicate expectations. And if they are not following those expectations, find ways that they can. Adjust the times of school and athletic events to help accommodate parents better, and require students to be at school the entire days to participate in extracurricular activities. So in evaluating the options and evaluating the making no decision or taking no action, most likely this would not upset the current nature of the school, but the current nature may not be what's best for students or the school as a whole. And by not upsetting anything, you're not going to make decisions that lead to future unintended consequences as well. The cons, it's most likely little change would be realized in school attendance. You're not going to see a whole lot of change. It would not lead to continuous improvement, would not serve the needs of the stakeholders. It would not follow the directives and prerogatives of the superintendent and the district school board. In evaluating the most comprehensive and liberal strategy, the pros, it would stress the importance that the administration has on and school board has been put on school attendance. I'm going to hold teachers and students to high standards. The cons, there would be a strong risk of creating a rift between the staff and the administration, and actually diminishing teacher innovation within the classroom. There's a strong risk of community backlash if popular teachers or coaches are removed from their positions. It removes the collaborative nature that is required for continuous improvement. It does not take into account why there are attendance issues to begin with. It's a reactive situation, and so this creates a reactive and not a proactive environment. So some of the intermediate strategies, the pros and cons. When we create an attendance secretary at the school, the pro is it streamlines the attendance process. It helps prevent bias among teachers, but it would also increase the cost to the school, as a position would need to be created. In creating a school attendance review board, they can gather valuable perceptions data from all stakeholders, but this also takes time, and improvement may not be instantaneous. Compiling data to better address the situation. This is important that it's valuable data needs to be generated to guide decision making, but this takes time as well, and so improvement may take time. Improvement may just take a little time throughout the year. Professional development for training of the staff. This can establish a common goal that leads to continuous improvement, but this can require money for training, and it takes some time as well. Creating a position that visits the homes and brings students to school. This can circumnavigate many excuses that students or parents may have why their students are not in school. But this, again, would require some extra money on the part of the district, and it may actually have some legal issues as well, depending on where this school is located. And personally meeting with staff members and to communicate expectations, this can be less threatening and confrontational for some staff members, but it's also hard to do in a timely fashion for an administrator, especially when you have a larger school. In adjusting the times of the school and athletic events to accommodate parents, it would hopefully get more parents involved and hopefully better attendance to school functions. But it could also put an extra burden on the school staff and actually the students themselves. In requiring students to be at school the entire days to participate in extracurricular activities, it stresses the importance of academics as well as athletics. But the cons, it may punish students for not being at school for no fault of their own. In creating data review days within the school, one pro is that teachers have a dedicated time to review that data, but the con may be require altering the school schedule that is already set in place. So in choosing the best option and the plan that would lead to better school attendance for students, the first would be to establish an attendance secretary. This person would make determination with input from the principal as needed if absences are excused. It would centralize the process of attendance and actually ensure that all teachers are recording their attendance data. And this person could communicate with teachers and actually possibly call or contact those teachers if they have not taken attendance, either by the day or in certain hours of the day. And this person could also contact the guardians if students are absent and for the reasons of their absences. Uh, Students would need to check in and check out with this person if they are arriving late or leaving early in the day, so that they may know the attendance status of these students. The second is to adhere to all district and state policies and have everyone on the same page. The school and the principal, they need to adhere to the district policies that are in place. If those policies are not working, you need to try and change those policies. But that's the job of the principal to adhere to the policies of the district. So the principal should be the only person excusing absences that are not for the illness, death in the immediate family, or for inclement weather. This would help solve some of the attendance issues that are described for some of the students, like Tyrone, Christina, and John, in this case study. And then we also need to follow the CASHA guidelines, or the State Athletic Association guidelines. This would ensure that the continued success of programs for all students. It would also ensure that teachers and adults would not jeopardize extracurricular activities for students in the future. So these programs are going to still be available for future students as well, as athletics can be a valuable part of a student's education. The third is to ensure that all staff members understand and follow district and school protocols. This needs to happen before school starts, and needs to be re-hit throughout the school year. This would eliminate teachers applying their own judgment to school processes. And then proper communication and commitment to the goal provides equitability across the school system. This allows for the information of a shared vision and the opportunity for continuous improvement, as everyone is now working towards the same goal. It also would require follow-through and training for the staff members. Staff meetings could be used, the use of collaboration time, or collaborative time to discuss data, including attendance data, to help determine the needs and make data-informed plans for the future. And then we could also use in-service walkthroughs, thorough and representative evaluations could also be utilized. Fourth, work with the superintendent and school board to establish a school attendance review board at the beginning of the year. And it would consist of stakeholders, not only within the school, but the community as well. And by doing this, we can generate some perceptions data, as well as support community engagement in finding solutions, and apply laws put in place by the state of Kansas, in this case to promote the data-informed decisions that happen within schools. And would help determine the cause of the attendance issues. Hopefully we could determine the ultimate cause of the issues and help correct that for the future. The fifth would be to communicate at the beginning of the year with school staff, parents, students, and community stakeholders about the importance of being in school and the increased school focus on attendance for the upcoming school year. The purpose is to clearly and effectively inform stakeholders of expectations, and this could be accomplished through email, automated phone services, informational packets at enrollment, social media service, the district website, and as well as informational packets or information provided at back-to-school nights or early season athletic events and athletic parent meetings. The sixth is to start a data review process at the beginning of the year for all students. It would identify students early if attendance issues are present. Waiting till semester is just too late. We need to start earlier in the year when we can still make a positive impact for that semester. Meetings with these students and or their guardians could be scheduled to resolve some of the issues. This would involve the staff in data analysis regularly through required analysis in PLCs or collaborative groups, and it creates accountability and stresses the importance of the issue. And it also allows for staff members to make data-informed decisions in their own instruction. When the focus of all stakeholders is put in an area, improvement will be seen. And seventh is to establish weekly meetings with the school administration, counselors, and social work services um, at the school level. The purpose would be to improve communication at the school level by planning meetings with students and have been identified through the data analysis um, that need to happen each week. And it can also generate student perceptions data in these meetings to help determine why the absences are happening in the first place. The eighth step would be to gather perceptions data from parents, students, and community stakeholders. And this could be achieved through online surveys, or mailings. And the ninth would be to plan professional development that incorporates generated data, student attendance, and its relationship with school achievement. It provides opportunities for staff members to incorporate data-informed processes into their instruction in order to realize continuous improvement. And then finally, would be to review all generated data at the end of each quarter with the staff and school attendance review board to evaluate current protocols, develop plans for the future that are based on generated data, and support continuous school improvement and student development. So when imagining implementing my decision, the plans need to be adaptive. As new data is analyzed and collaborative groups generate ideas, plans must be able to accommodate these ideas and new information. Communicating and desiring input of all stakeholders generates a better, complete picture of the school system and its needs. This also helps build some positive relationships within the community, and can help in community support in the future. And it helps create a culture of we instead of an us and a them. And then experts may need to be consulted. The superintendent and school board regarding changes in policy, as well as district lawyers if legal issues or questions arise. And finally, the issue must be revisited often throughout the school year and in years to come. Constant work on a shared vision by all stakeholders will lead to positive results. Thank you.